What I have here is a toy called Pee Pee Boy. See what happens when I pour water over it. Whee, do you see it peeing? Pee Pee Boy is peeing. Other than playing with toys, I love to find out how toys work. Hi, I'm Mr. Long, and I'm a science teacher today. Let's learn to find out how this toy works. Let's try to investigate. So I have a setup here, which is basically a test tube with a rubber band and a glass tube. Now this actually simulates how the Pee Pee Boy looks like. So what happens if I were to immerse this inside some cold water? What do you think will happen? Well, I have a trough of cold water here. Now what happens when matter loses heat to the environment, alright, or gains heat from the environment? You learned that in a topic on matter. Matter expands when it gains heat, and it contracts when it loses heat. So if I were to place this inside the cold water, let's see does anything happen. Alright, a little bit of water went in. Okay, let's try this again. Not sure you can see the glass tube. There's a little bit of water that went in, but as soon as I remove this, alright, this tube and the air inside starts to gain heat from the surroundings, and that causes the air inside to expand and pushes the water out. As you can see, this is the water and it's dripping out slowly. So this, if I immerse this, trying to cool down the air inside, causing it to contract, I'm not able, right, to contract enough of the air to allow enough water to go in. Only this much water goes in. What can I do if I want to get more of the air out of this? So there's more space inside for water to go in. Remember, matter occupies space, and that's why I can't get more water inside this test tube. How can I get more of the air to expand and to leave? I know. Let's place it inside some hot water. Here I have another trough. This is a trough of hot water. Let me just place it in. Let me just remind you, if you want to do any experiments with hot water, please make sure you have a trusted adult inside. Now I have one set of these wooden tongs. As you know, wood is a poor conductor of heat, so I feel safer. But immerse it in. Do you see bubbles coming out? Right? Bubbles coming out from this end of the tube here. Right? And why are the bubbles coming out? Remember when we talk about matter gaining heat and therefore expanding? If the air inside this test tube really is expanding, then it has nowhere else to go but through the glass tube. Now let's make this even clearer. I'm going to move it closer to the camera. Right, I'm going to heat this up. Try observing this end of the glass tube. I'm going to just pour hot water over the test tube now. Observe the bubbles. Alright, and are you able to explain why is it bubbling? Good. The air inside the test tube is gaining heat from the hot water. As it gains heat, it expands, and there's nowhere to go but to go out from this side. So now how do I get water into this test tube? Well, if I were to immerse the same test tube now inside the cold water, what would happen to the air that's inside the tube? As you're right, it will start to contract. When it starts to contract, water starts to enter through the glass tubing. Alright, let's see if that really happens. Are you able to see some water now inside the test tube? Water has gone in. How is water able to go in so much now, whereas previously it couldn't? Simply because some air has escaped earlier because it has expanded, and that means that there's some space left behind in the test tube, and therefore now when the air inside starts to contract, it frees up even more space for the water to enter to the front here. Now basically now I have my Pee Pee Boy ready to pee. So does it really work? Let's see. What happens if I were to pour hot water over this test tube now? What do you think will happen? Yes, water probably will squirt out, but are you able to explain why? If I pour hot water over this end, what will happen to the air inside this test tube? Yes, it will gain heat from the hot water and it expands. And when it expands, it will push in all directions. Since the air cannot push through the glass walls, it can push against the water as well, and that will push the water down and out through the glass tube. Enough talking, and let's see if this really works. Maybe the water is not hot enough. I'm not able to force out as much of the air as I would like to.